All right, let's get into it. Today we're going to take an absolutely extraordinary story and break it down into a practical manual for living. We're going to pull out the tools, the techniques, and the disciplines that are designed for anyone who's looking to navigate life with, a lot more clarity and a real sense of purpose. So, this quote, it comes from a man named Dan Millman. And from the outside, believe me, this guy appeared to have it all. This right here is the key that unlocks his entire journey. That moment he realized that a happy life isn't something that just happens to you. It's a skill. It's something you actually have to learn. I mean, look at this. On the surface, Dan's life was a total highlight reel. World champion, successful student, popular with everyone. But underneath all that shine, something was seriously wrong. He was having these awful nightmares about a hooded figure, and this deep sadness just followed him around, no matter what he achieved.
And you know how these things go, right? So many transformative journeys, they start in the most random places. For Dan, it began with a sleepless walk that led him to a chance encounter, a meeting that would totally crack open the door to a whole other dimension of reality. And it all started with one very simple principle. So the very first lesson Dan learned from this mysterious gas station attendant, who he'd later call Socrates, it wasn't about adding more information to his already packed mind. Nope, it was about subtraction. It was about making space for real wisdom to come in. And Socrates made this point in the most direct way imaginable. While he was filling up a customer's car, he just kept on pumping, letting gasoline spill all over the pavement. The message couldn't have been clearer. You can't take in anything new when you're already overflowing with opinions, facts, and just a bunch of useless knowledge. You gotta empty the tank first. See, Socrates wasn't offering to fill Dan's head with a new set of facts. He was pointing to a much, much deeper source of knowing. He told him that the secrets of the universe, they aren't out there in some book. They're already imprinted on the cells of your body. The real work is learning how to listen, how to read them. And bam! This was the first major blow to Dan's identity. Here he is, a world champion athlete who prided himself on his mind and his physical control. But Socrates just dismissed all of it, right away. He drew a line in the sand and introduced this crucial distinction that would become the absolute foundation of Dan's real training.
Now this slide, it just breaks down that difference perfectly. Understanding, that's all in your head. It's one-dimensional. It's the difference between saying, yeah, I know what driving is, and that three-dimensional, full-body, oh my gosh, so that's what it's like to drive moment. One leads to knowledge, sure, but the other, that's body wisdom. That's the difference between knowing the path and actually walking it.
Okay, so let's get to the central framework of this entire manual. Think of this as your quick reference guide for dealing with the chaos of everyday life. It's a way to figure out where you're at in any given moment. So here's the crucial point. Life is constantly going to poke you. It's going to insult you. It's going to throw stuff your way. The fool is basically a puppet of these events, just reacting with irritation and anger. But the warrior isn't controlled by the outside world. They take responsibility for their own inner state, and they consciously choose how to act instead of just blindly reacting.
And this is just the brilliant illustration of how simple the test really is. Socrates literally just poked Dan in the ribs until he finally yelled at him. Your own emotional response becomes the training ground. The second you feel that flash of anger or irritation, that's the signal. That's your moment of choice. Are you going to be a fool or are you going to be a warrior? Now, moving from that reactive state of the fool to the intentional state of the warrior, well, it isn't just an intellectual exercise. It takes rigorous, practical discipline. So here's the toolkit that Socrates provided to sharpen the instruments of the body and the mind.
For the warrior, meditation is not about escaping into some blissful trance. Not at all. It's an active, powerful weapon. All that constant chatter in your head, your worries, your plans, your judgments, that's the illusion. And the sword of meditation is what you use to slash right through that noise and see what's actually real.
Okay, these rules might look a little extreme, but they aren't punishments. They're disciplines, and they're designed to purify your body and your mind. The best way to think about it is like tuning an instrument. Cutting out the idle chatter isn't about forced silence, it's about clearing out the mental noise so you can actually hear. And refraining from a preoccupation with sex isn't about denial, it's about saving your vital energy for this really demanding work. Each rule just removes a layer of static, making you a more sensitive and powerful instrument and creating a clear channel for that body wisdom to come through.
This is where the training really goes to the next level.
It's about taking that meditative awareness off the cushion and bringing it into every single moment. Doesn't matter if you're washing dishes or doing a double backflip. The goal is to dissolve the doer. There's no you doing it anymore. You become the action itself, and you move with a freedom that is completely spontaneous and totally unself-conscious.
So, with all these tools in hand, how does a warrior actually live in the world? How do you apply this training when you're not at a gas station in the middle of the night? Well, it all comes down to one simple but really profound shift in how you see things.
This is the secret. For the fool, life is just a series of boring moments with maybe a little excitement here and there. But for the warrior, every moment is special. Every moment is worthy of your full, razor-sharp attention. The ability to find the extraordinary in the ordinary, that's the true mark of a master.
And you've felt this before. I know you have. In moments of intense competition or a sudden crisis, or when you're just deep in a creative flow, your mind goes quiet and you just act. That's Satori. It's not some mystical, far-off state. It's a natural human experience. The warrior's goal is simply to expand that clarity, to make Satori the reality of your daily life.
This whole journey, this entire manual we've been walking through, you can really summarize it in 3 distinct stages of transformation. It's like a map of the path, from a sleeping fool to an awakened warrior. So first, you get those magical gusts of awakening, that moment when you just know something has to change. Then comes the hard work, the sharpening of the sword through discipline and practice. And finally, you get to the goal, a state of happiness that doesn't need a reason, a kind of peace that can't be disturbed by whatever's happening on the outside.
Ultimately, this manual isn't about preparing for some enlightened future or a peaceful death. It's about dismantling the habits and illusions that keep you from experiencing how vital and rich your life is right here, right now.
So this isn't just a story to understand. It's a practice to be lived. The training starts with your very next action. Are you going to apply it to the way you listen in your next conversation, the attention you bring to your next meal, or how you choose to respond the next time life pokes you? The choice, as always, is yours.